Hey guys, this is Alex from Club Rex, coming to you with another online video. Today our topic is going to be all about fossils. When you're a paleontologist, you have to be a dinosaur detective. The only way you can learn about dinosaurs is by finding their remains. Fossils! Fossils come in all different sizes, but how are those fossils made? So let's say you're a fish. Is that a fish? I said fish. Sure. Okay, yeah, that's way better. So let's say you're this fish. And, well, unfortunately, you die. So, how do you end up becoming a super cool fossil? Just like this one. In order to become a fossil, an animal or a tree or something else needs to be buried immediately. Immediately. That way, things don't disturb the remains. We don't have scavengers coming around and picking apart the carcass. We don't have, say, weather events that might spread the bones out, although that does sometimes happen with fossils. What the ideal conditions would be is an animal coming to rest in some mud, some deep mud where it sinks down and is protected from oxygen and other things, or maybe under sand or silt at the bottom of a river. These are very, very important things for fossils to occur. Rapid burial equals great fossils. And this is how we learn about dinosaurs and other extinct animals. Nobody was around to take photographs of a T-Rex. I know, I wish. We can't go to the zoo to see dinosaurs. We can't see pterosaurs flying over rivers or lakes. We can't see marine reptiles swimming through the ocean. We need to learn about these animals thanks to fossil remains. Now, when a fossil ends up getting buried, it takes millions of years for those fossils to form. Over time, layers of sand and silt will build up on top of that fossil. And this is where the magic happens, right? Compression from the planet, leaching of calcium, and the absorption of minerals surrounding it turns these animals and these trees and what have you into stone, which is what fossilization means. Something has been turned into stone. And it can happen for a variety of reasons to a variety of different things. This is a fossil I've had for ages now. This is from British Columbia. Any guesses as to what this might be? Now, this is a fossil that's about 450 million years old. This, my friends, is a piece of a tree. This is petrified wood, fossilized tree. Once again, it is very, very heavy. It has been turned to stone. Normal piece of wood, if I were to bang my ring against it, would not sound like rock, and that's entirely what that is. It is a rock-shaped, or a tree-shaped rock now. There isn't even a little hole in there. I do believe made by an insect. I don't think that insect made that hole while the tree was fossilized. I wonder if there's anything in there. Tell me if you see anything coming out. No, I'm only joking. This is a fossil that was found from the Niagara region, which is where I live. And if we look closely, we can see some shells in that fossil. Can you see that? There's another one there. Now, what's great about this fossil is a section of it has popped off. So if I take this piece here and I move it aside, what we can see is a negative and a positive impression of these shells. Now, these shells would be Paleozoic. That's the kind of fossils we do find in the Niagara region. But these shells were around about 400 plus million years ago. And there they are, perfectly preserved for us still to enjoy. Look at that. So cool. So, shells are a great thing to fossilize aquatic animals, such as trilobites. Here's some lovely trilobites right here. Can you see these guys? Trilobites are three-lobed animals, which means they have a head, a torso, or a tail, or you can even talk about the 3 lobes going this way. Compound eyes, scurried along the bottom of rivers, oceans, lakes, eating all of the things that would fall down. Potato bugs are kind of related to these guys, as are horseshoe crabs and lobsters and other animals like that. So these fossilized trilobites are another great example of an animal that has passed away and gotten trapped in mud or gotten covered in mud. Those layers of mud will protect them, and they will, end up becoming fossils. And if we can find them, say 500 million years later, then we can understand what planet Earth looked like during that time period. Fossils are so cool. By the way, I did mention that one fossil came to us from Niagara region. Any friends coming to us from the Great Lakes region of Ontario or even the United States, we can find an awful lot of fossils throughout the Lake Huron area, and they're the same age. Some wonderful places to go hunting throughout the shores of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, which is where I'm close to. But these fossils are widespread throughout Ontario, so if you're ever interested in going fossil hunting, shoot me a message and I can give you information for some really great fossil hunting sites. Now, unfortunately, we have never found a dinosaur in Ontario. The ground just wasn't great for fossilizing them back during the Mesozoic time period. So instead, we get Paleozoic stuff, the shells like we just saw, trilobites, wonderful things like that. And we also find some Ice Age remains in the Niagara region, mastodons and mammoths and wonderful things like that. Dinosaurs, though, are a different story. The best place in Canada for finding dinosaurs is Alberta. And this is the reason why Alberta is so prolific when it comes to fossils. This is a map of North America during the Cretaceous time period, about 80 to 70 million years ago. You can see that the entire continent is bisected by the Western Interior Seaway. Laramidia is on the west coast, out where BC and the Rockies are. And then on the east coast is Appalachia. The Western Interior Seaway is the reason we have all of those dinosaur fossils all the way down from Canada through to the United States. It's also the reason we have the Grand Canyon. Pretty cool. Erosion. And here's a fun fact. The only place we find Tyrannosaurus rex fossils is on the Laramidia side of that seaway. They just couldn't swim across it, I guess. Well, teeny tiny arms, what are you gonna do? As a paleontologist, you have to be a dinosaur detective. I call it Sherlock Bones. Pause for applause and laughter. Good, right? Now, when you do find a dinosaur, it does not come with an instruction manual showing you how to put that dinosaur back together. It does not come with a label telling you what it is. You need to use your eyes. You need to use your imagination to try to figure out what it is you have found, such as this. This is a what? I don't know. That's right. It's a dinosaur's tooth. And by finding something like this, we can learn a lot about this dinosaur. Number one, this tooth is sharp and pointy, meaning this dinosaur ate, that's right, meat. A sharp and pointy tooth is not good for chewing things. A sharp and pointy tooth is designed to catch something that's running away from me. The last time I checked, lettuce does not run away from you. It's very easy to catch. You just go to the grocery store. That's where it is. So this tooth can show me that this dinosaur was 100% carnivore. Finding a dinosaur's tooth is a wonderful thing to find. Now, finding something like this is equally great. That's right, it's a claw. shaped like a C, kind of tells you what it is. This claw is long and pointed. This claw, to me, looks like it was designed to grab onto something, to hold onto something. Now, what's interesting about this claw is that this claw belongs to Megaraptor. And the problem with dinosaur fossils is this. Sometimes you only find bits and pieces of that dinosaur, and that's the case with Megaraptor. We find their claws. We don't know if it was a raptor. If it was a raptor, it would be mega. Now, my idea is that maybe this dinosaur wasn't using his claw the same way a raptor does. Maybe this dinosaur was using his claw to catch something like a fish, because this claw is shaped like a fish hook. And I think that this dinosaur might have been related maybe to Baryonyx or Spinosaurus or Irritator or one of these wonderful fish-catching dinosaurs. We don't know until we do find more pieces from Megaraptor to solve this puzzle. But just recently in Australia, back I believe in December 2019, they did find another claw like this. They're calling it Lightning Claw, which is pretty cool. Makes me think of a Harry Potter kind of dinosaur. Oh, we'll get to that another time. But once again, all we find is their claws. It was found at the bottom of an ancient river system. So what looks like happened is this dinosaur had fallen into the water, possibly drowned. Maybe it was dead as it fell into the water. And all of its body got tumbled downstream. Bits and pieces maybe fell off. And what came to rest at the bottom of that river system was its claw, which is the only part that seems to have fossilized and to show us what this dinosaur was all about. But to me, it's kind of hard to picture a dinosaur based on just bits and pieces, right? It's like finding a toenail and saying, hey, look, it's my friend Polly. We don't know if that's Polly's toenail. I wish Polly wouldn't clip his toenails around me, but hey, you know, that's the way paleontologists work. Sometimes you have to make guesses, you have to make those leaps. But remember, not everything is a body fossil. Trace fossils! Do you know what those are? Trace fossils aren't made from the bones of a dinosaur or another extinct animal. Trace fossils show us dinosaurs in action. They are the activity of dinosaurs. Here's a perfect example of a trace fossil. What we see here are dinosaur footprints, tiny three-toed feet that walked across a muddy riverbank millions of years ago. Isn't that awesome? Check that out. This came from New York State, and it doesn't look to be a very big theropod. And when I say theropod, I'm meaning 3 toes, 2 legs, bird-like T-Rexes is a theropod, Allosaurus, Albertosaurus, raptors, theropods. This one's not a very big one. But dinosaur footprints are fantastic to find. They're essentially made when a dinosaur walks through a riverbank, walks through mud or sand. It's like when you go to the beach and you leave footprints on the beach. Maybe in the winter, you're leaving footprints in the snow. In the springtime, you got your wellies on, you're bouncing through the mud puddles, and you're leaving your footprints behind. Now imagine that those footprints were left undisturbed for millions of years. Imagine those footprints were baked by the sun and turned hard. And then imagine more water or mud covered over top of them and protected them and fossilized them, impacted them down into the ground. And then millions of years later, thanks to erosion, those footprints come up to the surface and we're able to read right there, osh, kosh, bagosh. We find your footprints, and it's the same with dinosaurs. These dinosaurs were merely fishing or crossing a river. And footprints teach us so very, very much about dinosaur activity. We can find footprints of dinosaurs both big and small. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex footprint. And back in 2011 in British Columbia, this T-Rex footprint was found. Well, not just this T-Rex footprint, but 3 sets of T-Rex footprints. That means 3 T-Rexes were running side by side across the landscape, possibly hunting in a group. This is what's exciting about dinosaur footprints. We can learn that T-Rexes hunted in groups. And when we're talking about a group of T-Rexes, we are talking about a terror of tyrannosaurs. So something as simple as footprints have shown us what we thought we knew about T-Rexes was wrong all along. Now I hear you out there, you're saying, well Alex, how do we know that was actually a T-Rex's footprint? Well, check this out. It shows us all of the different footprints left by different species of dinosaurs. We found so many that we can follow their tracks and figure out what kind of dinosaurs left them behind. Dinosaur footprints are fantastic ways to learn about how they lived. This, my friends, is a Hadrosaurus footprint from Alberta. Can you see the 3 toes up here? Right? So these 3 toes right here show us that there's no real claws at the end. There's more of a hoof. So this is a weight-bearing foot as opposed to a digging into the ground and pulling you forward foot. These kinds of footprints are wonderful, and a duck-billed dinosaur's footprint, or duck-billed dinosaurs' footprints we find all over Alberta. Check it out. Dinosaur trackways and footprints can be found all over the planet, but I have to say one of my favorite discoveries is in Bolivia. Check it out. This dinosaur was bitten by a radioactive spider and he gained super spider powers. They call him Spider Dino and was able to climb buildings like a spider can, shoot webs, that kind of thing. I'm only joking. What we have here is actual dinosaur footprints on the side of a mountain. How do you think those dinosaur footprints got up there? Well, it's kind of cool. Back when the dinosaur walked across this landscape, it was flat. Over time, tectonic plates would push against each other, and this is what forms mountain ranges. In this case, the dinosaur footprints were forced up the side of a cliff, making it look like they were actually climbing up the side of a mountain, possibly fighting the Green Goblin. For our next fantastic fossilized footprint expedition, we're going to the United Kingdom, namely Scotland. And no, I'm not talking about you, Nessie. Sit down! Instead, we're going to the Isle of Skye, off the north of Scotland. And what we found here is a dinosaur stomping ground. These are sauropod footprints, long-necked dinosaurs. And what we see here is an ancient lagoon with tons of different species of long-necked dinosaurs that lived here 170 million years ago during the Jurassic time period. You've got smaller long-necked dinosaurs reaching the lower plants. You've got mid-sized long-necked dinosaurs stretching their necks to reach the mid-sized plants. And then you have the giants who can reach the treetops. What we see here are dinosaurs interacting with each other and their environment, and this is what makes dinosaur trackways so very, very special. The holy grail of dinosaur fossils is soft tissue. When I say soft tissue, what I'm talking about is skin impressions. What I'm talking about is mummified dinosaurs. My friends, it actually happens. Here's a great example of mummified skin, right? Can you see that there? These are scales. And this is where a lot of the confusion happens with dinosaurs. I get it an awful lot of time that crocodiles are dinosaurs, lizards are dinosaurs. My brother has a pet dinosaur. He has a bearded dragon. Not to knock the reptiles, my friends. Bearded dragons are super duper cool. Crocodiles are terrifying. Snakes, I don't like snakes. But dinosaurs are not technically a reptile. They're related to reptiles. They're cousins to crocodiles. They all belong to the same family called archosaurs. And if we follow that branch of the tree of life, far back enough, we do find a common ancestor between things like crocodiles, alligators, and T-Rexes. But the argument could also be made that that common ancestor is also the ancestor of the mighty chicken, because as we know, as dinosaurs changed over time, they did give birth to the birds as we see them today. Every single bird, my friend, is an avian dinosaur. Enjoy those chicken McNuggets. But dinosaur skin is fantastic. Now, we don't always get scales. Sometimes we get different kinds of impressions. We'll talk about that just a little bit later. But mummified dinosaurs. Mummified dinosaurs are incredible discoveries. A mummified dinosaur has undergone a different kind of process. It has fossilized, but the soft tissue surrounding the bones has been preserved as well. Finding soft tissue, finding mummified dinosaurs, shows us so much more than just how they were built on the inside. The soft tissue on the outside shows us what they looked like, and sometimes we find some amazing discoveries. Amazing discoveries like this. This, my friends, is Leonardo. Not the Ninja Turtle, not the artist, but a Brachylophosaurus, a hadrosaur or a duck-billed dinosaur. This fellow was found in Montana, also throughout Alberta. Duck-billed dinosaurs have that beak up front for clipping and those chewing teeth at the back for chewing. But what's incredible about Leonardo is the soft tissue preservation. Now keep in mind that when we do get soft tissue preservation, it's basically a natural cast formed by the imprint of the body. And here we can see the neck and shoulders of Leonardo. Sure, you can see some bones sticking through, but look at the neck. You can see those scales. Here's a shot of all the bony ligaments and tendons that would have connected all of the backbone together, forming a rigid superstructure, helping him to control his tail, neck, and shoulders. And here's the side view of Leonardo. All of that soft tissue gives us so much information. Paleontologists believe that center spot right underneath his ribs is a bite, possibly from a tyrannosaur. What's crazy about Leonardo is that he also showed us that he had worms. Yes, that's right. He had worms in his tummy. A little parasitic worm that lived in there, probably fed off of the food that Leonardo digested. He's just like my dog. This weird parrot-faced little fella is Sitakosaurus. Sitakosaurus is an early ceratopsian, which means he's a cousin of Triceratops from the Lower Cretaceous time period, roughly about 120 million years ago in Asia. That's where we find these guys. And we find a whole bunch of them. One of the most well-known species, thanks of hundreds of discoveries. But this specimen here is really what turned people on their heads. We can see the skeleton, but surrounding this complete skeleton, that's all soft tissue. It's perfectly preserved. We can see larger scales surrounded by smaller scales, and coming off the back of his tail is this strange mohawk, 16 centimeters long, of these strange filaments that go almost all the way down to the vertebrae. They're almost like quills. They would have been circular and hollow, and quite possibly coated with a keratin material, which would have made them rigid. What an amazing defense to cover your backside during an attack. Here we can see the elbow joint of Sitakosaurus from the same specimen. Can you see the spots? That's right. This animal had spots. Well, parts of it had spots. Spots on the front side of its body, spots along its back, and if we look at the back leg, we can even see stripes across the bone. This animal shows us exactly what he looked like when he was alive. Cheetah spots! How exciting is that? Probably lived in an area where he would have to deal with predators, maybe a wooded area, so having counter shading really helped him. And this is the image of the reconstructed version of that Sitakosaurus. This is the most close to seeing a real dinosaur from the information that we have so far. I know he's kind of goofy looking, but holy moly, look at that face! Little chomper. Next, we're heading to Fort McMurray in Alberta, Canada, where at the oil sands an amazing discovery was found in 2011. This nodosaur is called Borealidae, and that's right, he's mummified. Are your socks blown off? I bet you they are. Go look for your socks. This animal fell into the Western Interior Seaway and floated and bloated, which means he filled up with gas and sank so heavily to the bottom that he disturbed the silt. As you can see here, we can see the armor for the neck in perfect rows, protecting the back of this animal's neck from a T-Rex attack. This entire animal's armor is exactly where it should be. The most exciting part about this discovery is the information we got from it. We got stomach contents that showed its last meal were ferns. Actually, it had a lot of ferns in its belly. A lot of charcoal, too. We were also able to pick out pigment from the back of this dinosaur skin, which means we know what color it was, and this is what it looked like. Well, this is our best guess as to what it looked like. Counter shading once again. Wonderful defense, wonderful camouflage for hiding from large predators. And look at those shoulder spikes. What a great adaptation. Borealidae is one of those dinosaurs we'll be talking about for years. So we really can't talk about trace fossils without talking about one of my favorites, and I'm sure it's some of your favorite too. That would be poop! Dinosaur poop! Dinosaur poop is called coprolite. It's not called feces, it's not called dung, it's not called dinorrhea. Although dinorrhea would be fun, coprolite is just dinosaur poop that has undergone the same process as other soft tissue, fossilized bone, fossilized wood, all the wonderful fossils we've seen, except it's poop. Way back when we were discovering dinosaurs and Mary Anning was living in the south coast of England, she would find ichthyosauruses, and inside those ichthyosaurs she would find these strange looking rocks. And when she broke them open, what she discovered was, well, there's fish bones in there. So this is where we get the coprolite from. Now, coprolite, we don't know an awful lot about it, and it does teach us some information about dinosaur habits, mostly diet. When we find a coprolite, we can cut it open and examine the inside. See that? Right? And by using electron microscopes and other scientific tools, we can see what this dinosaur was eating. That's about all the information we can get. But coprolites are super fun. Look at that little nugget. Smells great. I really have to say, though, this kind of fossil is one of my favorites. When we think about dinosaurs, we often think about T-Rexes and Stegosaurus and Allosaurus and all of these wonderful Brachiosaurus, giant dinosaurs. And who can blame you? When you're thinking about dinosaurs, you want to think about those terrible lizards. But here's the thing. We are finding an awful lot about small dinosaurs. We're finding an awful lot about just the life that dinosaurs lived and the world that they lived in, thanks to a tiny little window that we get from amber. Now, amber, and I've got a tiny little chunk right here. I'm going to get close. No, can you see that? This is amber. This is Baltic amber. And basically what Baltic amber is tree sap. Tree sap that runs down the outside of a tree, and then it fossilizes. If you've ever been to the cottage in like northern Ontario, the pine trees are all giving off this ooey gooey sticky sap, and if you put your fingers on it, you're going to be washing your hands for weeks just trying to get that resin off. So when we do get amber, as it travels, or as that tree sap travels down the side of the tree, it's going to trap things like insects. We're going to get other things stuck in the amber. And the wonderful thing about amber is it encloses the animal right off from oxygen, which means everything is preserved. Now, this little tiny chunk I have in my hand, I know it might be hard to see, but I do have a blown up picture of what's inside, and that is what is inside that piece of amber. A tiny little gnat that's about 100 million years old. So the whole basis of Jurassic Park, the science of bringing dinosaurs back to life, was based around amber and finding mosquitoes in amber. So here's my question to you. If we find a mosquito from the Mesozoic time period trapped in amber, are we able to drill into that mosquito, extract dinosaur blood, and grow a dinosaur in a lab? Probably not. The problem with mosquitoes is once they start to suck the blood, they start to digest the blood, which breaks down all the DNA. My idea is if you drill into a mosquito and extract the blood from the mosquito and you clone that blood that you extracted from that mosquito, we're just going to get more mosquitoes. We don't need more mosquitoes, especially Mesozoic mosquitoes because they're probably much bigger. They're used to eating dinosaurs. But here's some amazing amber discoveries, and these things are out of this world. Many critters over the millions of years have lost their lives to the sticky, sticky sap of amber. Here we see half a lizard perfectly preserved in amber. Here we see, okay, listen, when there's a spider coming up, somebody please let me know. Here's a spider. We're going to move on now. Can we get the spider down? What's next? Come on, spider. No more. Okay, thank you. Dinosaur feathers. Now this is exciting. Dinosaurs had feathers, and a lot of them, when they rubbed up against a tree, would leave their feathers behind. Check out the stripes on those feathers. Okay, well, not a spider, but still. Bugs, I'm not great with bugs. Enough with the creepy crawlies. A mayfly, I think. Feathers. Excellent. So you can see these are dinosaur feathers, and they're not like a bird's feather, in so much as they don't capture their air. They're more like downy fuzz. You can see these ones are very loosely bundled, and these ones are even less so. Just fuzzy little things popping off the side. The little branches that come off the end are not great for catching the air, so they're not used for, like I said, flight. Okay, so I think there is a bug in this picture. There is a feather, thank you so much, but there is also a beetle of some kind. So I guess sometimes we get lots of things. Oh my goodness. Okay. That is... okay, so this thing is in the amber, and I'm glad he's in the amber so I don't have to see or touch him or get anywhere near him. That thing is horrifying. Okay, nope. I'm done. What? Look at that. Okay, no. That's amber. This thing is horrifying. Amber is fantastic, though. Okay, so now that we have that out of our system, I want you to look at this discovery. This was found in 2016 in Myanmar, and what we see here is the tail of a juvenile theropod dinosaur. We're not sure which kind of dinosaur, about sparrow-sized, but what's interesting is a number of things. Here we can see brown feathers on top and white on the bottom, which once again shows us counter shading, a great way to camouflage. This dinosaur's tail was long and flexible, which is different from the tail of, say, a raptor, which has bony rods to keep its tail stiff for balance. And from tails, we're flipping on over to heads. Check this out. This discovery came to us just a few short months ago, the early weeks of March 2020. This dinosaur's head was found perfectly preserved in amber. We can see its eyes, we can see its toothy beak. Now, this dinosaur is more bird than dinosaur. It gave rise to the other kinds of birds that we see on planet Earth right now. Its name is Oculodentavis, and this 99 million year old tiny bird is smaller than the smallest modern bird we have on planet Earth today, the bee hummingbird. The difference being hummingbirds drink nectar. These sharp teeth are definitely carnivorous, which is strange for an animal that has eyes pointing out the size of its head. We are going to be getting so much more information from this wonderful discovery. And it just goes to show you, amber is one of those fossils that we can study for ages. By finding fossils, we learn about the way Earth used to be. We learn about life that existed before us. We get this small window, and we're so lucky to be able to find just a small glimpse of what planet Earth used to look like. It's thanks to these men and women, these paleontologists out there, and the future generations of paleontologists. I'm looking at you JKs and SKs. Get out there and get curious. I want to thank you guys for sitting and listening to me again, and I also want to thank our friends at Hamilton Public Libraries for sponsoring this video. We were supposed to have some really great shows this summer at Hamilton Libraries, but unfortunately, because of the way things are right now, we're going to do it safely from home. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I hope everybody has learned something new. Get out there, keep your eyes on the ground, and if you find any cool fossils, send me a picture.